Welcome back to my channel. My name is Christina, and today I just wanted to make a quick video because I realized that the other day when I made the video about my favorite books of all time, there were a couple that I missed, and I know that there were a lot of books on those lists, so you probably have a good idea of what my taste is like. I just wanted to update it because I felt like these books were missing, and I didn't like that. I wanted them to be on the list, and they're definitely ones I recommend, so I just wanted to mention them. So the first one that I wanted to mention was Eyes of the Dragon by Stephen King. This is a book that I had never heard of until a couple years ago. I was browsing for fantasy books and this one popped up, and I was really surprised, and I read what it, the synopsis, and it sounded really good. And obviously he's known for his Dark Tower series, so I knew he could write fantasy. I mean, he could probably write anything, but obviously his fantasy is well loved. So I went ahead and I got this book, Eyes of the Dragon, and it's sort of written like a classic fairy tale sort of fantasy. But I was surprised I'd never heard of it because it was really good and I really enjoyed it. So I don't want to talk too much about it because I think probably a lot of people haven't heard about it, and I definitely recommend reading it. So that was just one that I wanted to add. And then of course, Tough Voyaging. So as you can see, I'm in a different area now. I've rearranged everything so that all of my books are on display, and it's more of the vibe I'm going for. So while I was looking around, I actually saw this book, and that's what reminded me, like, oh my god, I love this book, I can't believe I didn't put that on my list. I just didn't think of it at the time, but then when I was going through all my books and looking at them, I was thinking more about it, and I realized that one was missing that I really love, Tough Voyaging by George R.R. Martin. This is actually a sci-fi book that he wrote that is about basically a man in a spaceship who can create different life forms, just sailing around the universe, and the different things that he does in his time on this ship. And it's great, and I love it, and that's another one that I feel like not many people have heard of. Obviously when you think of George R.R. Martin, you think of Game of Thrones, but you don't really think of sci-fi, and so I wanted to mention it, and yeah, so check those out. Okay, so I guess I've decided that in addition to updating you on some of my favorite books that I had kind of forgotten about, I also want to do a little bit of housekeeping stuff, because I also need to add to my fantasy to be read list, because I made that video, I had all of the books collected, and then like I said, when I was rearranging the other day, I found others that I want to read as well. So I just wanted to mention The Wheel of Time. I've had this forever, and I obviously have heard great things, but I've never gotten around to reading it. I think because the series as a whole is so intimidating that I don't know if I want to get into it. But I want to at least read this one. I have it. I might as well. I had a friend recommend reading the first 3 if I didn't want to read the whole series. I might try to do that if I enjoy this one. I'm not sure yet, but I wanted to add this to my TBR as well. And then I also have The Dragon Bone Chair by Tad Williams. I am a huge sucker for these 80s fantasy covers, as you can probably tell, but I have had this one for a while as well. I did the same thing that I did with The Black Company, where I had the large version, and I bought the mass market paperback in order to encourage myself to read it, and I just really loved this cover art. But I wanted to add this to my list as well. This sort of is like a classic fantasy, and I actually haven't heard that much about this one, even though I know it's like a fairly popular one, so let me know if you've read this, and I definitely want to read this one as well. And then I also have The Bull and the Sea Oh, sorry, The Bull from the Sea. I don't know if this is Mary Renault or Renault or how that's supposed to be pronounced, but she has written a bunch of like ancient Greek or myth-based books, and this one is more of a myth-based. It's, you know, it's got minotaurs, and the labyrinth and all of that. So I want to add this to the list as well. I started it a while ago and I found it very interesting, but it was very like metaphoric. Sometimes I have a hard time sticking with those things, or I'll start reading something else a little bit like in between and just sort of forget about it. So I did read about like 80 pages back when I first got it, and I was really enjoying it, so I want to get back to it. So I'm adding this to the list as well. And then finally, I was telling a friend about reading Circe by Madeline Miller, and she was like, oh my god, I read it too, it was amazing. And she recommended Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. She said this book reminds her of Circe in a lot of ways, and she thought that I would enjoy this one as well. I bought this a while ago. I feel like I can say that about all the TBRs because it, you know, takes a while to read books, so you know they add up and it takes a while. But so I'm adding this one to my TBR as well. Let me know if you've read any of these, and let me know if you've heard of Eyes of the Dragon. I'm genuinely curious if people have heard of this Stephen King book before and it was just me, or if this is sort of a secret dark horse kind of book. So yeah, I just wanted to update you and let you know these ones are on the list as well. You know, give me your thoughts on any of them. Tell me if some are great and I should bump them to the top, or if I should sort of, you know, leave it where it is. But yeah, so I will see you very soon. I'm also making a video today on my medieval TBR list, and so that will be out soon as well. And I'll see you very soon. Thank you.